Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an easy sugar flower daisy. I'm going to start by taking some white gum paste and tinting it yellow to make the daisy centers. Here I'm using sugar flare in daffodil, and I'm wearing gloves just so I don't get yellow gel color all over my hands. Next I'm going to hydrate the gum paste and make it a little more pliable by kneading in some vegetable shortening. And I'm just going to keep kneading this together just to make the color nice and even and consistent throughout. Put down a little cornstarch if things start to get sticky, or if you want to put it down on the counter. Then I'm going to store it in a plastic bag to keep it from drying out. Next, I've got 26 gauge wires here, and I'm cutting them into quarter lengths. So cut as many wires as you want for as many daisies as you need. We're going to do 1/4 length per daisy. Next, I am making a sort of modified umbrella hook where I bend the top hook a little bit and then I roll it down on itself and turn it sideways. This type of wired hook is really advantageous when you're making little flat centers like this, which is what I'm doing now. So here I am using a flower center mold, which I will link to in the description below, and I'm just pushing some of the yellow gum paste into the molds. You can use any one you want. You can use the same one to be consistent every time, all different ones. I did all different ones here. So what I'm doing is just taking the bent wire, dipping it in just a tiny bit of egg white, inserting it into the yellow ball, and then pushing that down into the mold so that I end up with these beautiful, lovely centers. After these dry for about 30 minutes, I'm gonna add a little bit of edible pollen. This adds some nice texture, and it really makes the centers look a lot more lifelike. So what I'm doing is now I am taking just a tiny, very tiny bit of egg white, just kind of a skim coat, and gently brushing it over the top of each one of these centers, all of which are different sizes with different textured imprints from the mold, which you can see even through the pollen. The pollen is made from powdered gelatin and a little bit of petal dust. Up to you how much petal dust to add. The more petal dust, the more vibrant your color will be. So now we're going to move on to the actual daisy petal. It's pretty simple. So you can use 8 petal cutters or 12 petal cutters. I'm actually using a combination of both here. I did about double the number of petals in all different sizes for the number of wires that I had. I like to double up on the petals to give it kind of the daisy a fuller look. So I'll put the smaller set, like the 8 petal set, on the inside, closest to the center, and the larger petal set, or just even if it's just the larger petal, regardless of the number of them, on the outside. So what I'm doing is taking my ball tool and thinning them just around the edges, and then taking my Dresden tool and pulling down in the center just to create a slightly cupped point at the end of each petal. A little bit of egg white on the center of the petal, and then slide through those yellow centers that we made earlier. To dry, I'm hanging them over here on a hook and letting them par dry upside down, and then I'll take them off and let them finish drying right side up. And that way it just gives you some different shape, different dimension. If one side dries a little flat, don't worry about it, because what's going to happen is you'll have just another opportunity to kind of fit it into an arrangement and give it a really nice organic look. Now what I'm doing here is I am making the calyxes. So I am using the smallest 8 petal daisy cutter in the set, which I again will link to in the description below, and I am just punching out a calyx for each of the flowers I made, and I'm storing them in a little plastic sleeve right next to me. You might want to have a Dresden tool handy just because it's a very small cutter. You probably won't be able to get your finger in there. So to make the calyxes, what I'm doing is taking my ball tool, just quick run around all the edges to thin it out, so half on the calyx, half on the pad, and then I will take my Dresden tool, which you will get a nice good close-up of here, and just like I did on the actual daisy petal, on the white petal, run it down from the edge of the calyx petal to the center. And then I flip them over, and I think this part is really important because once it's flipped over, you'll see that it creates kind of a raised effect, and then when you put a little bit of egg white on it, and then slide the wire of the petal through, the edges of the calyx will kind of stick out and puff up and give you a nice 3D effect so that it's not it's just flat and static against the petal. It will look like it's kind of peeled back to let the flower come out. So continue to do this for all of your petals, or excuse me, all of your flowers, and then you're going to let them dry. And as soon as they're dry, which shouldn't take very long, I would like to give it probably a full hour just to be safe, then you can go ahead and dust the calyxes. Choose any fun spring green color you like. Here I'm using Crystal Colors Kiwi cut with a little bit of cornstarch, which just lightens up the green a little bit and makes it a little less robust. So dusting the calyxes just adds a nice kind of finishing touch to all your daisies, and that way if anyone sees the back it looks complete and really just very lovely. And these, you know, all of these took me maybe an hour to do, so I hope you'll give them a try. Everything will be linked in the comments below, and please do let me know what you think of this video and what kind of sugar flowers you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching.